It's week 18 of the golfing calendar. And now, live from the Australian Golf Centre, home of the PGA of Australia and Golf Australia, this is Nick O'Hearn, and today, the impeccably colour-coordinated Mark Allen. Have a look at him. Welcome to the Talk Birdie-Tome podcast. Take it away, boys.
Before we start, I really have to comment on your colour coordination today.
Thank you.
You're looking very resplendent.
Took me quite a while to get the blues all together, but I've somehow managed it.
How many pairs of glasses do you have at home?
I've got three. Blue, brown and black.
Okay. No green or anything?
Let's put a photo on socials.
Yeah.
Oh,
why don't you do that?
Smile.
Why don't you do that? Yeah, that's great. Did you see the two swings Hannah Green made in both playoff holes? They were magnificent, Nick.
They were.
Honestly, if no one's seen it, I don't know about that hole. You know, the hole that she's won on. So if you don't know, if you just joined it, Hannah Green's had a great win this week. I mean, a brilliant win. Just hung in there, lipped out everywhere, made a great putt on the 72nd hole, and then made two of the best swings you've ever seen on both playoff holes. The 18th hole, which, by the way, that looks like it was an afterthought, that hole. that hole at this golf course, you know what it looks like to me? It looks like they've made a hole. One hole's been out for a while, and they've had a tee up at the top of the clubhouse.
Next to the clubhouse.
And they were just hitting down to the chipping green.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like to me. And what a great hole it was. It was a fantastic finishing hole.
It was a cracking hole at the Wilshire Country Club is where it was. And it angles away from you. It's quite steep slope on the left-hand side.
I saw it earlier in the week and I was thinking to myself, wow, what an unusual good hole.
Yeah. Well, as you say, it might be the 19th, or maybe it's the nearest the pinhole when everyone's had a few sitting in front of the clubhouse. Let's just go and hit one and
That's what
see
it looks
who can
like.
turns into the 72nd hole of a big tournament.
Anyway, can you talk us through? Because she's now, well, you're from Mount Lawley Golf Club as well, and ever since she won the major, she went past you as the best best golf player from Mount Lawley, and now she's completely gone past you now.
Well, I don't know if I ever held that title, but I might have for a little while.
Mate, you're world number 16, and you beat Tiger Woods twice in match play. That goes a long way at Mount Lawley.
Trust me, when I saw Hannah Green coming up through the junior ranks, I thought, oh, wow, this girl is something special. And
tell us about what was she like as a junior?
Well, I was living in America at this stage, and I heard all the raps about her and how good she was. And we got another one, by the way, coming up from the Mount Lawley Golf Club, Kirsten Rudgley.
Oh, yeah.
She's going to be really good too.
Yeah. Turned pro, hasn't she?
She has, yeah. I think she's over in Europe playing the Ladies European Tour.
Well, I like that. I like the pros who go to Europe first.
Yeah, it's a good path.
Makes sense.
Yes, for sure. But no, Hannah was always a lovely girl. Very nice. I didn't know her much as a junior, to be honest. I was away overseas at the time, but I'd always heard this big raps about this young girl coming through at the club, winning everything locally, a beautiful golf swing, and now she's been coached by Richie Smith for a long time.
Possibly the best golf coach or the hottest golf coach in the world at the moment.
Well, it's a toss-up between him and Grant Field and maybe a couple others, I'd say. Yeah, for sure. They've got one heck of a stable. And what you got, Minwoo and Minji. Hannah. You had Curtis Luck, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if Curtis is still with Richie, but anyway.
Kirsten.
Kirsten.
Yeah.
Is she?
I think so.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. He must have some great players anyway. So obviously getting through, but her golf swing, not a lot can go wrong with it. I mean, I was watching it coming down the stretch, and through the back nine, she was hitting the ball beautifully, hitting it, a lot of fairways, a lot of greens, but just not quite close enough. And when you leave yourself those 20, 25 footers, it's hard to make a putt. And she kept leaving him a little bit short. You could see maybe a little bit of frustration kicking in, but the caddie said at the end, look, just stay patient. Yeah. And she did. And then all of a sudden, 15 the par 5, knocked it on in two putted for birdie. She had 14 straight pars to begin the round.
Yeah.
And then on the final hole, hit a lovely 7-iron, I think it was, into the 18th, but it didn't kick on. The previous group, the ball had bounced on and pretty close, and it was Aditi Ashok and Jiu Lin had made both made birdies there to get to 9 under.
Two really good players who have been in form lately too. If you follow it closely like you and I do, they have been going well.
Yeah. Now there's so many players to follow now on the LPGA tour. You go, oh, she's playing well. Oh, well, there comes another player. And they're Chinese, Korean, Indian is Ashok, and obviously the Aussies as well with Hannah. And that putt she hit on the last, finally she opened the seal. made a long birdie putt, but she had to make it to get into the three-way playoff.
Yeah, she knew. And look, I've only watched it on replay, but I went back and watched that. The first playoff hole, there was 3 in it, and the first 2 hit 2 beautiful shots, and she was third, and she hit it to 3 feet inside the 2 beautiful shots. I thought, wow, what an effort. I already knew she'd won, but I wanted to see how she won. One of the girls got eliminated. And
well, she had a good putt. That was a shook. She lips out.
Yeah.
And then Xiu Lin made her birdie putt from about 8 feet, and Hannah's was actually about 4 or 5 feet. I'm not sure it was 3 feet, so she still had some work to do.
Yeah, it was. It was a little wobbler too. Yeah, the greens, you said, some bounces went hard, some went soft.
Power.
And it was the same with the putts as well.
Power greens, you never know what bounce you're going to get.
But she made a good putt, she made a good stroke, and it didn't look like I was going to miss at any stage, which is pretty handy on those sort of putts, like you say. But then to go back and do it again, she saw the one go into the trap. But to go back and do it again was superb, and I was just so wrapped. I don't know what happened. I mean, I found out so late on the Monday that she had won. Usually I've got an eye on Twitter. I've got an eye everywhere. And
California time. So
that's what it is.
See, it's an extra 3 hours east to west coast. Yeah, so it didn't finish till later this morning.
You know what I want you to do for us too?
Yep.
I want a masterclass on the 17th hole. So it's the 71st hole of the tournament. She had this very delicate little chip, and I'd seen a lot of players use the putter from just off the green.
Yep.
This was taken out because there were sprinkler tabs
heads
in the way. I saw Tony Finau did the same thing too. So it's the short softy. So
You're naming it, okay.
This is the chip. It's only a short chip.
Yep.
But you've got to land it on the green
with something with loft,
and it's got to land soft.
Yep.
And then just trickle out. On professional greens, it's different. They are firmer in general than what you would normally play, except in America, of course. But in this situation, the hole was only cut, I don't know, 2.5 steps onto the green.
Yep. Yeah.
So I saw 2 of them played. I saw Tony Finau play the short softy, and Hannah Green.
Well, if you watch that, the end of the females, the LA Open, or LA Championship with Hannah winning, the player who had it in her bag, basically. She was 10 under playing the final 2 holes, was Roning Yin. She had the same chip as Hannah on 17, hit a little scoopy one, left it about 8 feet short, missed the putt, and then on 18, again, a little chip and run, and not good, The technique was a little out, and I'll explain that a little bit later.
Yeah, that'd be good. That'd be good, because you were one of the best in the business around the greens. We all know that. I want to talk about Talor Gooch. In fact, let's just do it. Back-to-back wins. And you know what? I don't really want to talk about Talor Gooch.
Okay.
I want to talk about his caddy, Malcolm Baker, who's a West Australian. And if you add up all the money won around all the tours in the last 2 weeks, I think he's second behind Cameron Smith for money earned, and he's a caddy.
Jeez.
He's a caddy. So he's won 400, or he hasn't won. He's made 400,000 US 2 weeks in a row. Plus whatever money he made for team competition as well, which I'm assuming gets thrown in.
Yeah, so he would have got another, let me think, the goat rangers, or the range goats. Sorry.
Range goats.
I keep calling them the goat rangers. They won, didn't they? So they split 3 million. So what's that, 750 each?
750
so
each.
That's 75.
75.
And then they were third.
Third. So he's made another hunch in the team events. So he's made $900,000 US dollars in the last 2 weeks. There's only one other person in golf around the world who's won more money than Malcolm Baker, and that's Cameron Smith. Good. And he's actually playing in the tournaments. I think he's in a couple of top 5. He had top 10 of the top 5.
Hey, good luck to him, because caddies have a tough gig. Although on the LIV Tour, it's not as tough as other tours, obviously.
Yeah, nice to see Sergio playing half decent as well. He got beaten in a playoff over there, so that was that's interesting, and that's good. And the tournament looked good on the tally. Didn't look nearly as good as the Adelaide event, because there just wasn't the people there.
They were never going to get the crowds, were they? I mean, Adelaide was always going to be their biggest event, and probably by 4 or 5 times bigger than anything else. And I was wondering what it was going to be like up there at St. Toza. Our friend Andrew Lennie, he was up there helping with the coverage. He loves it. He's all over it.
God,
you could just sort of throw a little line out to him, and you can reel him in with a couple of comments every now and then too, which is beautiful. But he gives as good as he gets, and he was talking about some of the players and the caddies up there and how they're going. But the humidity, I mean, in Singapore,
how'd you go in the humidity?
Well, I lived in Florida for 13 years,
so
I got used to it. But the first time I went to Singapore or Kuala Lumpur or somewhere like that, I mean, you're dripping. You're absolutely dripping just walking down from the clubhouse to the driving range.
Yeah.
Same thing in Florida.
Yeah, the hottest weather I'd ever played in was in your neck of the woods, was at the Vines.
Oh, well, it's a dry heat, though.
That was, we had 2 days in a row where it was 48 degrees and 49 degrees.
Yes.
Had to wear long pants.
I remember.
And we were having a bottle of water on every single hole, finishing it. And I didn't go to the bathroom for 3 days, I reckon. It was just so crazy hot. It was unbelievable.
They should have stopped that one because spectators were dropping like flies left, right and centre because it was a good 30 to 40 minutes inland. And, no wind going and the sun beating down. I heard it was something like 52, on the temperature scale out there. So
I'm trying to think who won that week. Was that the Clates one maybe? I don't know.
Could have been.
It was crazy how hot it was. And Tony Finau. Now, I watched a lot of this event. I watched a stack of it. That Smotherman doesn't look like a bad player. He snuck into the top 5. Looks like a pretty handy type. Tony Finau at the moment, 2 things. The way he sets up with his driver, it fair dinkum looks like he's trying to copy Fuzzy Zeller. His hands are so low.
Yeah.
His hands are so low.
Yep.
But the putting.
And the putting.
with the toe of the putter 2 inches in the air. What? Now, when
he used to do that, but it's not that exaggerated.
When I was a kid, and when I'm saying a kid, I'm talking when I was 13 or 14 years old. For a couple of weeks there, I reckon I was Fuzzy Zeller. For, about 2 years, I thought I was Semi Ballesteros, doing all that kind of stuff. I reckon I went through a Bernard Langer stage. Everybody went through the foot slide at Huntingdale Golf Club trying to copy Greg Norman.
Well, Scotty's doing it now. So.
Yeah, that's when I was a kid and you were doing all this sort of stuff. That's what it looks like. I mean, it looks like it's so extreme and so crazy that he's just found something somewhere and it's working the treat.
Well, number one, it's one of the shortest golf swings on tour other than John Rahm.
Yep.
So not a lot can go wrong in that time.
Yep.
He's extremely tall. I played with Tony back in around, I'm thinking probably almost 10 years ago.
It must have been incredible to watch.
On the Corn Ferry Tour back then. We played an event in Greenville, South Carolina. It was like the BMW Championship.
I've been there.
2 or 3 courses. You know the one?
Yeah,
okay,
I
think it was a Pro-Am event, wasn't it?
It used to be when I played it in 94.
Yeah. So on the final round, you'd play with with the pros, and I had Tony, and I'd never heard of this kid. We tee off the first, and you know how long I am off the tee.
Yeah, I do.
It's not long at all, obviously.
No, you weren't bad. You say
no.
You say that compared to the US Tour players.
Yeah.
Then you weren't long.
No.
But you would never. Not too many amateurs would have knocked it past you when you were going well.
A few, yeah. When I was going well, but I was always bottom 10 or 20 players in driving distance, but I was top 10 or 20 in driving accuracy.
But that's in the top 200 players in the whole world, basically.
Yeah.
So we forgive you.
I get it.
It's not that bad.
I was around 270 yards, something like that. Anyway.
Yeah.
First tee, I hit a pretty good one, downhill shot, and Tony gets up there with 3 wood, hits his little buttercut fade. 40 past me, and I've just hit a really good driver, and that was his 3 wood. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness! Yeah. But he had either his brother or his cousin carrying the bag, and he looked like someone who just kind of came off the street, might have Monday qualified or something like that.
Looks like a basketball player.
Yeah,
to me.
well, he's got the Air Jordans on, I think.
Yeah, he does.
He's got that sort of that gangster rap type image. Wears the hoodie every now and then. But as you say, he has got or found something that works for him and he can repeat it. And how he does it with the putting, I don't know how. But because when you have the toe of the putter so high up in the air like that, you have to be a wristier, poppier style putter.
Yes.
And that's not easy to do.
No way. Yeah, one of the great characteristics, to me anyway, of wonderful putters is that the blade of the putter is very low to the ground still. They're not using the bottom edge of the putter to make contact with the middle of the ball. I remember this. Greg Norman had a good look at Jordan Spieth putt when Jordan Spieth was going, and he said the same thing. He said, I've never seen anybody at impact in putting with the blade so low to the ground. it always comes up a little bit because you
just
don't
a
want
fraction.
you don't want to hit the ground.
Otherwise, you're stabbing it.
Otherwise, anything good to happen. You can hit putts fat, for goodness sake.
That's Gary Play. He used to punch his putts.
Yeah, that's right. So if you're doing that, the putter is so low. And I know Tiger Woods, I don't know whether he's done this on purpose, but that beautiful putter that he's won all these majors with was a really low profile putter. Mm-hmm. And I imagine for the same reason, because you can get away with a lot more with the low profile.
Yeah. Lauren Roberts was the same as well.
There you
Very
go.
low profile. And they called him the boss of the moss.
That's right.
That was a pretty cool nickname.
One of the best nicknames, probably one of the best top 5 nicknames. Oh, well, there's a top 5 for you one day.
One day.
Top 5 nicknames in the world of golf. You're exactly right.
Mm.
You're actually collecting the ball with the top half of the putter almost of the face. But when you've got the putter up in the air, like Seve Stowe was in the air, but nothing like this.
Yeah, no.
This is getting towards a Japanese player that
Yes.
you're probably going to put in your top 5 a little bit later. We'll talk about it later. That's really dangerous because you can almost, if he came up a little bit too much, you're almost going to top the putt.
Yeah, that's true. But again, it goes down to him just having fun on the golf course.
Yeah.
And I mean, did you see the family was all out?
Yeah.
I think that him and his wife, he must have
Four kids.
four kids.
4 kids.
And I heard on the coverage he's got 16 or 17 suitcases that go along with him when they travel. Luckily, he's probably flying private, so he didn't have to check him in. I mean, if he did, well, the family would probably never travel with him.
Never again. Going through a US terminal these days.
But they're having a blast. And again, I just saw just afterwards, about 3 hours after he finished winning the tournament, he's out there with his kids on a par 3 course, caddying for him, and as they're playing golf.
He was not.
He just won the golf tournament.
So he just wins a tournament,
Yeah.
and probably makes the promise to his kids,
Yep.
we'll go out and play afterwards.
And he's caddying. He's got the bag on the shoulder, and they're wandering around hitting balls. Not only is he golfer of the year down there, he's the father of the year as well. That's impressive.
John Rahm shot the 61. I think
did.
I saw a stat. He's shot more 61s than anybody else in the last 4 years on tour. He just keeps on trucking.
Crazy.
And next week we've got one of the big ones too. We're back to the golf course where Rory won his first tournament, South Carolina.
Charlotte, right?
Charlotte.
Quail Hollow.
Yeah, we're going back to Quail Hollow.
Wells Fargo.
Tell me about that golf course. Just get a little preview because I think we're in line to have a US PGA there or a US Open. We're going to have a major at some stage.
They've had a PGA there. Did Justin Thomas win it? No.
No.
Trying to think. No, Rory's one round there. I'm not sure. He didn't win a major round there, though. But they just had the President's Cup.
Yep.
Obviously. But, yeah, I played there many years. The what did they call it? Well, it's the Wells Fargo now is what it's called. But it is beautifully manicured.
It looks so good.
It has a bit of an Augusta-ish sort of feel, the way the fairways roll and slope through, through amongst the trees. The Aussies always seem to do well there.
Yeah.
I always played pretty decent because the greens are very large, big sloping greens that were quick. So it kind of had a bit of a sandbeltish feel to it, but in regards to the greens, but the whole course is a bit Americanized. It has one of the best ranges on tour
Does
as
it?
well. Just beautiful targets, and you could smash it and bomb it, and lovely old. What is that style of clubhouse? Not colonial, but that sort of that feel of clubhouse with big white columns and pillars. And
Tell me about 18. 18 looks like. Oh, my miss was always left. I look at that hole and I always think to myself, I'd hit 2 in that bloody creek every single time.
Well,
one off the tee, one my second shot.
16, 17, 18 was probably the most brutal finishing on tour, I think. I had one of my worst finishes there to miss the cut by 1. I went
What'd you
triple,
do?
bogey to miss by 1. And as you can tell, I'm completely over it. It was a horrible finish, but 18 is just such a tough par 4. It's a great hole if you're a drawer of the ball, which you're a drawer, or you're more of a pull when you say you hit it left.
No, the only time I overdrew it was when it started left. It started left and then went further left.
Yeah, you got a creek running all the way up the left-hand side. So if you pull it, you're basically in the creek. So there's one shot gone. Yeah. And then you've got a long second shot up a hill to a green, which is protected by the creek.
Where you drop the ball to, the ball ends up above your feet.
On the bank.
Disaster.
It's waiting to happen. And you can't bail right because there's trees and a bunker and you don't want to go there. You just got to stand up there and hit the shot.
Yeah.
So it's a great test. If you need to make 4 to win a golf tournament, that's one of the best finishing holes on tour, I think, because you've got to hit 2 quality golf shots.
We were talking about Finau before and it looked like he's copying now. I kind of spat out who I used to copy when I was a kid.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I want to know, were you that way inclined when you were who were you trying to copy?
I remember when I was growing up, I was before the broomstick putter came out, right? I used to have a blade, a Cushnet putter style, but a heel. It went into the heel, not into more into the centre. Was it a
Okay.
push net? So I can't remember who did it, but so I was trying to copy Crenshaw's stroke very much that way. And actually, recently, last year when I was hitting some balls a while back, I was struggling with my golf swing. I watched Trevino, and I was going through a Trevino phase, and I was thinking, I'm taking it out here, I'm really bowing the wrists, right, and I'm bringing it inside, and I'm feeling as though I'm staying way down on it.
Yeah.
I put it on video; it looks nothing like it.
It's amazing.
It never does. Feel and reality are two different things in the golf swing. So I started hitting it really good for a while, and then it just went pear-shaped again.
So what made you try and swing it like Trevino? Did you read a book, or did you hear his philosophy, or what? Why would you go from reasonably, copybook to what Trevino was doing?
My big issue with my golf swing is I tend to straighten up a little through the swing, as in I don't have a lot of room where my hands can move, so I'm very handsy. I've got to manipulate the club face. If you watch Trevino and a lot of the players now, they've got so much room, and they're very bent over in their upper body. Their legs are fairly straight, and they've got a lot of room for their arms and their hands to work through. So I was sort of thinking about it, and I remember just seeing him hitting some balls, and just the way he plays as well. Just gets up there, a couple of waggles, bang, away he goes. No slow play from Trevino. I love it.
I've got the best still picture of Lee Trevino just coming into impact you've ever seen. And the other thing about this picture, he's got the most beautiful pair of shoes on you've ever seen as well. Make sure I tweet it. Can we attach it, Dan, to what we're doing?
If you got the photo, we'll tweet it out.
All right. I'm feeling like a couple of party pies. Do you want a coffee or something at the halfway house?
Coffee's good for me.
Right. I'll see you on the 10th tee.
Like the podcast? Oh, maybe tell a friend. Drop them a text or share it on your socials. This is Talk Birdie to Me with Nick O'Hearn and Mark Allen.
All right, we're on the 10th tee, but I've sent you the photo of Lee Trevino nearing impact.
Yep.
What's more impressive, the foot joys or that position? The foot joys are suede with a patent leather toe and saddle. Look at those things.
It's impressive, isn't it? Jeez.
They are magnificent.
But talk about it's hard to see the club because back then they didn't have the skill cameras, but look at the left wrist, the right elbow.
Look at the room.
The head just staying over it.
The arms are so far in front of the body.
Magnificent.
Leading into it. It is a joke. Anyway,
that's why I've been trying to copy it.
We'll definitely tweet that photo out because it's one of the best pictures in golf.
All the socials right now. It's already there.
Oh,
it's already there.
Beautiful. Love it.
It's time for tweets to the editor.
All right, yes, in response to the LIV comments on Talk Birdie to Me Twitter, Cameron, CDS Mac, said they went to a music festival and a golf tournament broke out, ... with a
That's what it
thumbs
looked
up.
like. Yeah, that's what it looked like.
Yeah, that's kind of what I felt at the same time. Wilson Joe, PGA fan 2022 is his handle. That's not a golf tournament. Okay. Well,
okay.
Well, it is.
It sort of looked pretty good one to me, actually.
There's a lot of people had a great time out there and they were watching golf. Peter, Ironman Peter is his handle. Proof the PGA has been ignoring Australia for a long time. These 3 days have been unreal, seeing good players hit great scores and entering the public.
Yeah,
entertaining, I think that must say.
Yeah, I don't think the PGA's been ignoring us because we've got President's Cups, we've had World Cups, we've had a lot of different things. And Pete, if you've been listening to our podcast for a little bit, just wait. I don't think we're going to be ignored by the PGA Tour for much longer.
No, I don't think so.
Are you going to read out Daniel's?
Daniels?
Yeah.
Where are we?
Daniel Crawford there.
Okay, yeah. He said, after I heard Nick O'Hearn talk about what star sign he is, and he had to balance the scales, thought if it's good enough to take down Tiger twice, it's good enough for me. I'm a Taurus. Being hard-headed and angry hasn't worked just yet, but also being a stubborn Taurus I'm sticking with. I love it. And I actually replied to him. I said, Daniel, play like your personality. There's a chapter about it in my latest book. And he said, well, guess I'm buying the new book.
I'll give you a little pump up. I thought the playing to your personality was going to be a rotten chapter. I ended up liking it.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought, what are you talking about? Play to your personality.
Yeah. Well,
anyway, I'll give you credit. It was quite good. Now, in response to your masterclass on the mind drifting last week, question. This is from the PGA of Australia, is it? They're getting involved. How good's this? Does your mind drift on the golf course? Try this simple tip from Nick O'Hearn to improve your game immediately. Oh, they were tweeting it out for us.
They were. Beautiful.
Thank you very much, PGA of Australia. Much appreciated. Andrew LeBroy. I used to play golf with Andrew LeBroy. This couldn't be him, is it?
I don't know.
Not a common
name rings a
name.
bell.
What a champion and what a great guy. Well said. What was that to? Do we know?
I guess my masterclass
Yeah,
on the mind
he was
drifting.
responding to the masterclass on your mind drifting.
Andrew LeBroy. What
Is
a
your
star.
mind drifting right now? Or?
Well, my mind drifts back to Andrew LeBroy and what he used to get up to on tour a long time ago. Nice to hear from you, Andrew. And the Sydney Golf Tech, what was that reply? Just a bit of fire.
Pro.
Loved it. Absolutely loved it. So in response to our conversation about slow play last week, Don Riley has tweeted back, simple, keep up with the group in front of you. But that is simple and it does make sense. But you can have brain fades, can't you? And you're just halfway through, something happens.
Yeah, you can. Or you might 4 or 5 putt a hole and lose a ball or something like that. Then all of a sudden, the group in front is gone.
The other thing is you can keep up with the group in front of you, but they might be 4 holes behind the group in front of them.
That's
so
true.
Someone's got to keep an eye on the field. So if you've got any feedback for us, just get on the socials, good, bad or indifferent, let her rip. Any questions, we're happy to help. Simple as that. It is time for the top 5. What are we doing?
Okay, top 5. Well, I'm not sure you loved it though, Tony Finau with the putter.
I did love it.
Way up in the air.
In a crazy kind of way.
Okay. You went out in the backyard and tried it, didn't you?
Oh, I used to try it, but it doesn't work.
Okay.
It doesn't work.
Right.
In my Seve Ballesteros phase, I thought it worked for a little while.
Top 5 best putters who don't have the putter sitting flat.
Nice.
Okay. So it could be toe up or heel up.
Heel up, all right.
Yeah.
I've got an idea already. Who are you putting at 5?
Well, 5. We've got to go with Finau because he just won. Tony
Yeah.
Finau. He's, 4 wins in his last 16,
Yep.
18 starts or something.
And the toe's been up. I think the toe went up and
Yep.
he won. He got on the roll.
Yeah. And I think the toe just goes up and up and up. But it might get between his legs shortly. I don't know, the hands. So that'll be very interesting when that happens.
The one thing he does do, though, he's got the left forearm and the shaft are in a straight line, which is textbook sort of style. So even though the toe is miles up in the air, at least he's got the forearm and the shaft of the putter in line.
And that's very important. Whether you got your hands high or they're high or low, whatever.
Yep.
Keep them in line. Number 4, great Australian legend. How many course records did this guy have around the country?
600.
Billy Dunk.
What a player.
What putter did he use?
He used a Ray Cook when I saw him.
Okay.
And I used to be around the clubhouse at Huntingdale
Now,
when I
toe
was a
up.
little kid. He had the Ray Cook, the toe was right up in the air. And what a guy. He's a funny guy too.
I never met Billy,
He was
unfortunately.
half pro, half comedian,
Oh,
Billy
really?
Dunk. Yeah. You know, he's famous. He's famous for, he used to go and play in all the pro-ams, and that's where he used to, she set a lot of the course records.
Yeah.
And he'd get up. And he'd get up for the winning speech, the winner at the end of the day. He gets up in front of everybody. And he's the only bloke who could make make people laugh using this joke.
Okay.
He'd get the envelope, because, you get the ceremonial envelope passed to you.
Yep.
He'd look in, he'd peek in, and he'd look back up and go, small check, small speech, and then just sit down. That's what he used to do.
Wow.
And it was really, it might have been, worded a little bit different. But the whole room apparently used to go crazy and laugh.
I loved it. Okay.
There's a couple other pros who tried it that just fell really flat. It never worked, but Billy Dunk could get away with it.
Crickets for others, I'm sure. Yeah. All right, number 3. Now, this is the other way. Has the heel up. The best putter, or one of the best putters I've come across. And unfortunately, I was on the receiving end of his putting display at the World Match Play. Steve Stricker.
Yeah.
An amazing golfer.
Did he have the heel up in the air on his... Was it a My Day? What's he used? Or was he using a Zing?
I think it was a Zing.
A Zing copy?
Zing. I think it was a Zing copy or something.
A Zing copy from Odyssey, I reckon.
Yeah, you're spot on there, I think. But my
And he had the
goodness.
heel in the air when he beat you at Metro?
Yeah, he hold a 30-footer on the 19th to keep the match going.
Still, that's another thing. You just got the shakes again.
You have talked about this a couple of times. It's clearly something.
Yeah.
Well, we're
Burnt in
getting
mind.
we're getting people in multiple top 5s.
I want to get him on the show now just to relive it and see what happens.
Well, I think number 2,
Bonus material.
and one of the best, scenes I think of the toe in the air. 18th St Andrews, 1984, Seve Ballesteros.
Yep.
Iconic picture, photo, video, whatever. But he had lovely soft hands, and he had, I think, the right index finger went down the shaft too, didn't it?
Yep.
Brooks Koepka-ish type style.
Yes, he did.
From nowadays. So.
Amazing. I don't know how he did it, but he just made it look so beautiful and so copyable. And every second kid around Europe was trying to be Seve Ballesteros there for a little while.
Longest collars on the shirts too. Wasn't it?
Yes.
Very impressive. Those
Why isn't that silhouette the European tour
We've spoken about that before,
Yeah,
haven't
okay.
we? Yeah,
Sorry.
no, I don't know, but
Sorry.
Yeah, no, it would be a good one.
3 to listen to that conversation if you want.
All right, number one, and how can you go past this guy? I've got a bit of a story about this guy. Isao Aoki.
What's the story?
First of all, how far up? I mean, only the back edge of the heel of the putter sits on the ground. I mean, it is
The blade looked like it was a 45
degrees. Unbelievable. So,
And to boot, didn't move his forearms. It was all wrist.
I'm right.
His forearms didn't move.
Yep. Just a pop. Boom.
Just a pop. And I think he actually even hit the ball with the heel of the putter. Down the bottom. So he wasn't even trying to get the sweet spot.
No, you're right. And it was the old bullseye style putter as well.
God.
It was crazy. So anyway, I played against him at the Dunhill Cup when it was a 3-man country versus country.
How old are you? You must be 80 years old.
No, come on, jeez. You reckon I was struggling to field the team, do you? How old do you think? Anyway.
He looked like a good hitter of the ball.
Very good. He had the hands low, a bit fuzzy, Zellerish again. Straight legs.
Tony Finau-ish.
Yes, very much so. But going into the matches, I was with Peter O'Malley and Stephen Leaney, myself. We were the Australian team. Last Dunhill Links Championship before it went to the Pro-Am format.
Jeez, it was a good tournament.
It was a
great
event.
It was great.
Well. It was freezing cold that time. It was about October in St Andrews. That's not a good time. But anyway, going in the match, we're working out the pairings, and Pom goes, look, I'll play any of these guys, just not Aoki. I said, what do you mean? He said, I don't know. I just can't play him. I don't want to play him. I said, okay, no worries. I got him.
Right.
Anyway, as we're going around, little did Isao know, but before my time as a professional playing golfer, I was a teaching pro, and I used to teach some Japanese golfers. So I knew a bit of Japanese, and I could get away with it.
Yeah, a little bit of lingo.
I had a bit of lingo, and a couple of them taught me some bad words, and as you do
there we go.
whenever you learn a language.
This story's getting better.
And as the round's going around, it's tight tussle.
Yeah.
I could hear a couple of words going, I kind of recognise that one. And as he was saying them, he was looking at me. I'm thinking, I have a feeling he's not talking the nice things about me as we're going around.
Is this because you're getting up and down out of the ball washer around the place?
I was playing some pretty good golf, and I think he was too happy about it. But he was a nice guy. But he mentioned a couple of things. Okay. Anyway, come to the last green. I'm one shot ahead. He holds a 15-footer for the birdie.
Yeah.
I've got a 14-footer. I knock it in on top of it.
To maintain the one shot.
To beat him by
one. Beat him by one.
As we're walking off the green, I say to Isao, domo arigatou gozaimashita.
Oh, how good is this? How good is this?
And he turns, which means thank you very much for the game, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, you speak Japanese.
Oh, that's so good.
Oh, that is sensational.
It was a pleasing day, to say the least.
Oh, that is a ripper.
Yeah, it was
That's
a good one.
my dream, It's so good if you like. I never learnt any language. I know Australian, and that is it.
I didn't speak very much, but I knew a couple. I knew some phrases. I could get away with stuff, but I knew a couple of words. And anyway, it was
That is so good.
Yeah, it was a good
That's
one.
pretty impressive how you just said it. Say it
Domo
again.
arigatou gozaimashita.
That's
So my pronunciation apparently is very, very good. I can order coffees and stuff like that. Anyway,
Well, order a coffee. How would you do that?
kohi no mi o tai desu ka?
Oh, this is so good. And a
Anyway.
big hello to all our Japanese listeners to the podcast. It's time for results.
Well, we
Yeah,
kind of
come
went
on.
through them anyway,
Rip
but
through 'em.
we'll quickly go through them.
Any good
Obviously,
stuff? Any
Hannah
Aussies?
Green, obviously.
Yeah.
Let's see. In the live golf, we had the Rippers finish 6th. No good.
It's
Cam
a
Smith.
little bit better.
Cam Smith, 7th. So he's continuing on some good form. He played well in Adelaide.
He almost made as much money as Malcolm Baker over the last couple of weeks.
PGA Championship coming up in a few weeks. Look out for Cam.
Yes.
Hopefully he progresses. In Mexico, where Finau won, only a couple of Aussies did any good. Ogilvy and Baddeley tied 39th.
Jeff Ogilvy made the cut.
Oh, yeah, he's playing.
That is
He's
sensational.
making a few cuts over there. You haven't been following.
No.
You just looked at the top 10
No,
and then you know.
I don't even think, how you got the favourites in the scoreboard?
Yeah.
I don't even think I've got Jeff Ogilvy in my
Okay.
favourite, so
Well,
that's probably why I haven't noticed it.
He's over there back playing again and playing some good steady
That's
golf.
incredible.
Trust me, 39th in a tournament like that, still some good golf.
Yes.
You know what the separation is.
Mate,
It's-
you make a cut on the PGA Tour, you can play.
Absolutely. Dave Micheluzzi made his first start in the DP World Tour.
How'd he go?
In South Korea. Tied 21st. He was top
That's good.
10 or 11th going into the weekend, but
That's good.
76-68. So it's a good start for him.
76,
Good start.
yeah.
And then a special mention to New Zealand's Steve Alker, who
Oh,
defended.
yeah.
He won again.
Tell the story,
Champions
please.
Tour. Unbelievable. But his caddy actually passed away earlier in the year, so he sort of honoured
Love the Astros,
this
the
tournament. Yeah, brilliant.
Very, very good. And even bit like, I know he's missing his caddy, but to have his son caddying for him when he wins
he did.
Was brilliant as well.
He could be the best over 50 golfer in the world at the moment.
Okay.
It's incredible.
All right, great. Well done to all of our Australian golfers. They're going quite well. And New Zealand, Steve Elker. We are going to try for Steve Stricker, but if we don't get Stevie, we do need to get Graham Marsh on for
we've been talking about this for a while.
For a bit of bonus content as well. The man with one of the greatest Australian golf records that we have as a professional, and not enough people know about it. Time for the Masterclass. Righto, what are we doing?
What was the chip shot you called Hannah Green's? What's it again?
The short softy.
The short softy.
Yeah,
Okay,
the
that's
short
going to be the
softy.
masterclass this week. And the short.
rude.
It does actually.
It does, but it's a beautiful shot to
Yeah.
witness. And Tony Finau did one on the 13th hole in the last round as well.
I didn't see Tony's, but I did see Hannah's. And she has a lovely chipping action. And the real key, obviously, the setup is number one. You know, your feet are close together. She has a fairly square stance when she chips, which a lot of people do. But put the left foot a little open as well. That just opens the front hip up. But what you'll notice with her action in that particular chip shot was the rhythm back and through, and how everything was connected. The hands, the arms, the hips, the core, everything just worked back and through. Now, the other girl who didn't hit two good chips on the last two holes, her transition was out. There was a little bit of a speed up on the transition, and that's the reason where she struggled. She mishit both of those chips. If you watch Hannah Green, and for everyone out there listening, when you are chipping, that transition from backswing to follow through, make that as smooth as you possibly can, and just keep everything connected. Some people like to be a little wristy in that regard, but I think if you, for those short softies, as you say, take the wrists out of it, just turn back and through. And the other last piece of advice I would say, however far you take it back on the backswing, go the same length on the follow through.
Yeah, but you're big on that, and I think that makes sense. You know, when you say everything's connected, is it worth hitting a few chips with the towel under both arms, your golf towel under both arms?
I love that.
Yeah,
that's a real good one. Throw a little, get your beach towel, golf towel,
your
whatever.
golf towel,
Golf towel's better.
put it under both arms, and hold it together, and just hit some small short softies.
Love it.
It is starting to get sound rude.
I'll put a video up on socials later anyway on all that. Left-handed or right-handed? Do you want me to flip it on the phone or?
Yeah,
all right,
no, go left-handed.
I'll go lefty.
Stay true to yourself.
Okay.
And by the way, if we're being true to yourself this week, you're saying goodbye in Japanese.
Oh, well. Sayonara.
See you next week.
Nick O'Hearn and Mark Allen's podcast, Talk Birdie to Me, live from the Australian Golf Centre, home of the PGA of Australia and Golf Australia. We'd love you to follow us on the socials and rate and review the podcast wherever you listen. Talk Birdie to Me's executive producer is Dan Bradley at Kaizen Media. Sound design, Daryl Misson at Loud Zebra.